All right, so the Boston Celtics got a massive, dominant home victory against one of the best defensive teams in the NBA and the LA Clippers. Another amazing offensive performance, especially in that first half. I'm looking at some numbers here. They went 16 for 34 from three-point range in the first half and scored 78 points in that first half, including an NBA record 51 points in that second quarter. Just a dominant offensive effort, 18 assists as well. That's like a stat line for a team on a really good night through like four quarters. Like some teams on a really good night would put that stat line up for the entirety of the game. For them to do that in one half of play, truly amazing stuff. And I've said this before, and I was just talking about this with somebody. I know the record doesn't suggest it. The Cavaliers right now are number one in the Eastern Conference, losing just one game. And yes, they have been playing at an extremely high level. But I don't think right now there is a team playing better basketball than the Boston Celtics. I still do think, in my heart of hearts, this is the best team in the NBA. A lot of people talk about how wide open the league is right now, and that is true. But sometimes that comes with this notion that there is no team to beat, right? And I would disagree with that. I still think that the East runs through the Boston Celtics. That is how good they were last season. That's how good they are right now. Their dominant run didn't just start in the playoffs last year. It started from game one of the regular season. So when people talk about how wide open the league is right now, yes, it's true, but there still is a top dog. There still are levels to this. And in my opinion, the Celtics are the best team playing basketball right now. One of the reasons is because night in and night out, they're consistently playing their style. There aren't too many teams right now that are playing the Celtics that are taking them away from their strengths. We look at games like tonight. They're able to get every type of shot that they want, consistently took advantage of that Clippers defense, penetrated kick, rotating the ball from side to side, and getting a high volume of efficient, good three-point shots up. They're able to play that style of basketball every single night. Rarely this season has there been a game where I felt like a team took Boston away from their core strengths and attributes. They get to where they want to get at every single night. That is the mark of a dominant team if they're able to dictate a game and play at their style night in and night out. Too many teams aren't able to take the Celtics strengths away. They're able to get to where they want to get at on such a consistent basis. I also want to talk about this. Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown, in my opinion, the best 1-2 punch in all of basketball right now. And this wasn't a dominant game from both of them. I think both of them failed to score 20 points, but this was not a game where they need to score 20 points, right? They ended up having a dominant team offensive effort. You didn't need this awesome dynamic game from Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum. What makes them so unique is how the narrative is flipped. I remember a few years ago, people critiqued this duo. And there are a lot of reasons, right? For one, people thought that it was redundant to have two scoring-minded wings playing together. There were some chemistry issues, perceived chemistry issues, and just this notion that the duo did not make sense. Fast forward to now, and the reason that this Celtics team is able to operate the way they operate is because of these two guys. You have two athletic wings who can really break players down off the dribble, and they'll utilize that skill set to open up the offense. When Tatum is able to get into the paint, he is so good at making that pass and spraying the ball out to the perimeter. And from there, I've talked about it a trillion times in this channel, they are so good at making reads and decisions, rotating the ball from side to side, and doing things like that. The reason the Celtics offense works, and the reason that, in my opinion, it is the best offense in the NBA, is because of those two guys and their ability to make things happen off the dribble. As I said, that is a massive contrast to what we thought about them 2 years ago. There was a point where we thought that one of those two had to get traded. And I was on that train. And there were some reasons to think that because they were consistently getting to the postseason with those two guys at the helm and weren't able to capitalize and get over that hump. But looking at them now, the reason this offense is what it is because of their ability to use their skill sets as far as making shots, shot creating, doing things off the dribble, and they're allowed themselves to open up this Celtics offense completely. So it's a total 180 from what we perceived and thought about this duo years and years ago. Really, really cool to see You have to love how they found the best way to utilize their off the dribble skill sets, right? Like, obviously, they can go and create their own shots, but they're using it as a weapon to open up the team's offense. It isn't just about Jayson Tatum getting his own looks. It isn't just about Jaylen Brown getting his own looks. They'll utilize that skill set and that ability to get their own looks to create a net benefit for the team and open up even better opportunities and even their internal development, right? Like persevering and improving their individual game, with Jaylen Brown becoming much more of a threat off the dribble, becoming a better ball handler as time has gone on, and with Jayson Tatum becoming more aggressive, getting to the paint, and also becoming a better passer. I think that development in particular is what's helped the Celtics offense as a whole. Jayson Tatum's growth as a slasher, playing physical on his way to the basket, and also his growth as a passer. I've said this 1,000 times. I think Jayson Tatum is one of the three best all-around players in the NBA right now, and that's really due to his commitment and his improvement. So shout out to Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Like I said, I think this is the best 1-2 punch in all of basketball. This offense works because of what they can do off the dribble. Such a major contrast to what we thought about them years and years ago. Also, think about this game. It was the first game of the season for Kristaps Porzingis, and he was so good for this team. This offense is perfect for him. 5-out offense. They're doing a lot of screening actions. They're doing everything they can to exploit mismatches. Porzingis at the 4 or 5 or wherever you want to put him at is so good at taking advantage of mismatches. So if he screens and gets a smaller defender on him, he's going right at it. Like, you have an issue sometimes with some big men who don't know how to utilize their size and take advantage of mismatches. Not Porzingis. If he sees that opportunity, he's going right at it, right? And we saw him do that here against the Clippers. If he had a smaller defender on him, maybe at like the free throw line on top of the key, he was going to get that shot up, right? And it'll either turn into a made shot or a foul. Not only just tonight, but also in the NBA Finals, we saw him do that a ton. Screening action, getting the mismatch, and immediately taking advantage. Porzingis was so good offensively for this team. Also had some amazing defensive moments. If you thought this team was scary offensively pre-Porzingis, they're going to be that much more scary with Porzingis here the rest of the way through, and the hope is that he can remain healthy. So amazing season debut for Porzingis, reminding us of how dominant of a force that he truly is. Last thing I want to talk about is the bench production, particularly from Peyton Pritchard. He has been so good this entire season. What's been really interesting with the Eastern Conference is the amazing backup point guard play, right? Like, there's obviously Pritchard, who's averaging 15 points, 46% shooting, 41% shooting from 3, but you also have Ty Jerome. You also have Trey Mann. You've had some really good backup point guards in the Eastern Conference this particular season. You've had some pretty solid production off the bench from Cam Payne, who's averaging almost 9 points, and he's been very efficient from three-point range. This has been like the year of amazing backup point guard play, and Pritchard, in my opinion, has been the best. I think the debate right now for Sixth Man of the Year is like really intense, especially with these two guys being point guards out in the Eastern Conference. But Pritchard, amazing stuff, amazing shot maker. Really, again, just falling into this Celtics theme of being able to stretch the floor well around guys like Tatum and Brown. He is constantly ready to go immediately off the bench, knows what to do when his number is called. Just a lethal shot maker, someone who you can really bet on his looks going in. Amazing stuff here from Pritchard. Hauser had some amazing moments as well in this game. Just great all-around basketball from this team. Whenever you can play this dominant of a game where your best two guys don't have 20 points, that shows how great of an all-around squad that you have. So amazing stuff here for Boston. Amazing production all around. Even in a low-scoring effort, Tatum and Brown, you can still feel their presence and what they mean to this offense as a whole. And just dominant stuff from the defending champions. And right now, they're doing just an amazing job at defending their title. So good stuff so far. Again, I think this is the best team in basketball, and they're just going to continue to prove that as time goes on throughout the rest of this season, especially as we advance into the in-season tournament.